You're watching the News on the Hour, brought to you from the Anglican Cable Network Nigeria, ACNN. You are welcome, and I am Zubechi Frank. The new Acnn General Secretary and Bishop of Jos Diocese Anglican Communion, the Most Reverend Benjamin Kwashi, has pledged to be a committed evangelist and also to follow the steps that has been laid for the growth of Acnn. He made the statement in a video made available to mark his official assumption to the office of the General Secretary of the Acnn community. According to the Archbishop, he pledged not to deviate from the teachings of the Gospel of Christ and also to proclaim Christ all over the nations of the earth.
I have just assumed office as Acnn General Secretary, taking over from Archbishop Peter Johnson, a formidable Christian teacher. I want to pledge that I will not deviate. I will follow in the steps that our fathers have left for us. I will teach scriptures. I am essentially a rural evangelist, and I have seen the power of God at work throughout the northern Nigeria where I've walked. I have seen people come to salvation, and this is what we will do. And we urge you to join us in prayer, and we urge you to join us also in giving.
Reminiscing over his predecessor, the former General Secretary, that's the Most Reverend Peter Jensen, Archbishop Kwashi described him as a faithful servant of God who held the Acnn community together and successfully.
I first listened to Peter Jensen teach scriptures in 1990 in London. And ever since then, I have come under his teaching in different fora. He is a committed Bible teacher, one of the best in the Anglican communion, who knows how to expose and explain scriptures with applications and illustrations, cutting down to the heart. Peter Johnson, a faithful servant of God, led Acnn as his General Secretary for 10 years. He successfully led 3 conferences of Acnn. He held the Acnn families and provinces together. What a joy for me to step into the shoes of such a man, but with fear and trepidation, because his boots are too big for me. But I believe that with your prayers and with your support, I may not be able to do like Peter Johnson has done, but certainly I will not ruin what the servant of God has invested in this ministry.
As part of development and growth sustainability, history has been made in the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion as the diocesan and missioner, the Right Reverend Dr. Humphrey Olumakai, dedicated and commissioned an online radio station with the name Lagoon Radio. It will be recalled that the Bishop of Lagos Diocese, the Right Reverend Dr. Humphrey Olumakai, during the centenary anniversary press conference, stated that the diocese agreed to launch an online radio station. The online radio station, according to the diocese, will serve as another way of spreading the gospel of Christ in this century. And for the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion, it is an application that has been designed for the diocese through which their programs would be made available online. Nigerians have continued to react to the new national minimum wage of 27,000 naira approved by the National Council of States, while some have faulted the disparity in the approved national minimum wage, saying that both state and federal workers go to the same market, and as such, there was no justification for the disparity. Some have expressed their appreciation to the federal government for listening to the plight of workers. On his part, the Vicar of All Saints Church Anglican Communion, the Venerable Ernest Onoha, while speaking in an interview with ACNN news correspondent Nwanne Ogechukwu in Abuja, commended the National Council of States for reaching such conclusion and called on both the federal and state government to be responsible by paying the workers the approved amount.
Well, we have to sincerely pat the federal government on the back for such a giant stride at this time the decision the Federal Executive Council has taken as a palliative to workers. You know, originally about the minimum wage, they were giving 18,000, but now there is a job for those in the states that can pay 27, and then the federal workers 30,000. Somebody earning 18, receiving 27.30 is a great impetus to financial standing. But then, people used to say in conventional English that what is good for the goose should be good for the gander. They do the same work, although we are now saying state and federal. But they are going to the same market, the same hospital, but they are now having disparity in terms of salary. Well, we pray that God will still assist the people because the suffering in the land is so much. My worry is not even about 27 and 30. Are they going to be committed to it? Are they going to be faithful to the payment of such they have agreed? You see some states along the line now, they may renegade. They will tell you they don't have resources, but they have money to throw about. They have money to have some of their girlfriends in private and foreign institutions. You know, they do some untoward things. But if states will be committed and pay 27 in this new year, financially speaking, people will have lease of life. Then if they maintain 30,000 for those in the federal workers level, I think it will also serve as a cushioning effect. You will see rightness and wrongness. You have federal, you have states. They will never earn the same thing.
Still on the new minimum wage, some members of the House of Representatives faulted the Council of State for approving 27,000 naira as the new minimum wage when the agreement reached by the government, organized labor and the private sector was 30,000 naira. The lawmakers therefore expressed their readiness to adopt the 30,000 naira proposed by the tripartite committee, whose report was presented to President Muhammadu Buhari. At the plenary on Thursday, the Speaker, Mr. Yakubu Dogara, had read a letter by President Buhari to the legislature seeking an amendment to the Minimum Wage Act 1981 to reflect a new minimum wage of 27,000. The President said the amount was proposed by the tripartite committee and ratified by the Council of State. However, several members of the Green Chamber criticized the Council of State for its alleged unconstitutional approval of a wage for Nigerian workers. The Deputy Chief Whip, Mr. Pali Iriase, called for the approval of 30,000 wage for workers. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association also faulted the National Council of State's decision to approve 2 minimum wage. The group said it was alien to have 2 minimum wage. A former vice president of the World Bank, Obiageli Ezekwesili, has released a statement explaining the real reason she withdrew from the 2019 presidential race. In a statement posted on her Facebook page, Mrs. Ezekwesili said she had to exit her party, the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, because of the transactional attitude of its officials. In a statement issued by the spokesperson of her campaign organization, Ozoma Ubabuku, Mrs. Ezekwesili said her decision to withdraw from the race followed extensive discussions with Nigerians at home and diaspora. According to her, the action was also prompted by an examination of the country's electoral government's squirrel to the 2019 presidential debate of Saturday, January 19, 2019. But in a statement on Friday, Mrs. Ezekwesili said she had to quit the ACNN and withdraw from the presidential race because she was no longer comfortable with the antics of her party leaders. She was reacting to the accusations by the leadership of the party that she merely used the platform to negotiate a ministerial appointment. The party also accused Mrs. Ezekwesili of opening several accounts in the name of the party and her campaign without the knowledge of the party. However, Mrs. Ezekwesili said that fortunately her party has divinely helped her by making the Nigerian public to fully understand why she had to swiftly depart from their midst. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, CJN Walter Onoge, has refuted rumors that he has resigned from his position. In a concise statement on Friday morning, Honore, who spoke through his spokesman, Awasan Basi, described the speculation as lies, which should be disregarded. Meanwhile, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja barred the Danladi Omar-led Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT, from trying the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Honore. A three-man panel of the court, led by Justice Abdul Aboki, granted the interim order pending the ruling on Honore's application for stay of proceedings. The appellate court ordered the CCT to hand off the matter till January 30th. Opposition political parties under the umbrella of Coalition of Political Parties, CUPP, have welcomed the decision of the UK and the US to refuse entry visas to politicians who instigate violence or are involved in electoral fraud in the 2019 general elections. The coalition's first national spokesperson, Imo Ugochinyere, stated this in a statement in Abuja. While lauding the foreign government for their decision, Ugochinyere described them as the true gatekeepers of democracy. It will be recalled that both countries, that is the US and the UK, said they would be monitoring the elections closely to ensure that they are free, fair and credible. Specifically, the US said although it had no preferred candidates, it was interested in the process because of Nigeria's relevance to Africa and the world. The Director General, NYSC Major General Suleiman Kazure, has solicited the protection of corps members by the Police Command and the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army in Rivers during the general forthcoming elections. Kazure made the request during his separate courtesy visit to the heads of the two security agencies in Port Harcourt, where he commended the Army and the Police Command in Rivers for the support they had been given to the NYSC in the state. According to Kazure, the corps members are national assets on national assignments and needed to be protected. In his response, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Usman Belele, assured the NYSC DG that it was mandatory for the police to protect lives and property and also mandatory for the police to protect INEC materials and staff members, especially NYSC members, and also sympathized with the NYSC for the death of its members while on national service in Rivers in 2015. And appreciated the Director General for the visit. Similarly, Major General Jamil Saham, General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army Port Harcourt, told the NYSC boss that the Army was ready to protect the corps members before, during and after the elections. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted lower than normal rainfall over most parts of Nigeria in 2019 with expected late start of rains in the north. The agency also said the southeastern zone and the coastal areas would experience normal onset of rains, presenting NIMET's 2019 seasonal rainfall prediction in Abuja. The Minister of State for Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, said most of the northern states experience earlier than normal end growing season. Sirika added that shorter length of the growing season was predicted for most parts of the country, with frequent and severe dry spell over the northern region during the raining season. According to him, these are risk factors for farmers in the affected areas and have to be carefully and scientifically managed. Sirika added that early release of this vital information, such as SRP, before the beginning of rainy season was to ensure effective harnessing of the climate resource. He also said that such information would also guarantee minimal losses from associated hazards, which were becoming quite devastating in this era of climate change. The minister stated that it was on record that an increase of at least 30% agricultural yields could be achieved if the relevant meteorological information was utilized. We shall now go on a short commercial break. News on the Hour continues in a moment. Please stay with us.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has spelled out the voting procedures for the 2019 general elections via its verified Twitter handle, INEC Nigeria. The following are the 7 steps as stated by INEC. Step 1. Upon arrival at the polling unit, join the queue and present yourself to the INEC official at the polling unit, who will determine whether you are at the correct polling unit and check if the photograph on the permanent voter's card matches your face. If satisfied, he or she will direct you to the next INEC official. Step 2. The official will request for your PVC to confirm that your card is genuine and your details using the smart card reader. He or she will ask you to place your finger on the card reader to confirm that the PVC belongs to you. By ascertaining, the card reader will contain the name, photograph, and fingerprints of all those registered in their polling unit. Step 3. You will then meet the next official who will request for your PVC to confirm that your name and your details are in the voters register. Your name will be ticked and your PVC returned to you. He or she will then apply indelible ink to the cubicle of your appropriate finger for that election to show that you have been accredited to vote. If your name is not found on the register, you will not be allowed to vote. Step 4. The presiding officer stamps, signs, and endorses the date at the back of the ballot paper. The presiding officer will roll the ballot paper inwardly with the printed side inward and give it to you. He or she will then direct you to the voting cubicle where you will vote in secret. Step 5. You will stain your appropriate finger for the election with the ink provided. Then use your stained finger to mark the space or ballot provided on the ballot paper for your preferred candidate or party. Roll the marked ballot paper in the manner the presiding officer gave you. Step 6. Then leave the voting cubicle and drop the ballot paper in the ballot box in full view of people at the polling unit. Step 7. You will then leave the polling unit or wait, if you so choose, in an orderly and peaceful manner to walk the process up to the declaration of results. Note: the results of each polling unit shall be pasted at the unit and for everyone to see.
You are welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. For more on our top stories, please visit our website at acnntv.com or youtube.com/ACNNTV. To be up to date with our news and other programs, download the ACNN app for Android from Google Play Store. And now to foreign news. The Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of the West in Convocation of Anglicans in North America, the CANA, the Right Reverend Dr. Felix Orji, has said that prosperity gospel and antinomian heresies are not permitted in the diocese. According to him, no clergy, catechist, lay leader, or guest preacher is permitted to preach such gospel in the Diocese of the West. Bishop Felix Orji made the statements while addressing his church leaders on the issues relative to the diocese. He warned them against false preachings in order to please their congregations, saying that all will have to answer to God in the last day. He also called on all the priests and bishops who engaged in prosperity gospel to desist from it and embrace the real teachings of the Bible, as prosperity messages is no gospel at all. Pakistan's top court will decide next week whether a challenge against the acquittal of Christian mother Aisha Bibi can proceed as radical Islamists continue to call for her execution. Bibi's lawyer, Saiful Malook, revealed that on January 29th, Pakistan's Supreme Court will review a petition launched by Islamists calling for her blaspheming conviction to be overturned. If the court rejects the petition, Bibi will finally be free to leave Pakistan. The 47-year-old mother of 5, who was on death row for 8 years, was accused by Muslim farm laborers of having insulted the Islamic prophet Muhammad. which is an offence punishable by death in Pakistan. A three-member bench will hear the review petition, which claims that the Supreme Court's acquittal of Bibi did not meet the standards of jurisprudence as well as Islamic provisions. Bibi's children have been taken to Canada for their safety, and while various Western countries have been mentioned as possible destinations that could grant the Christian woman asylum, her fate remains uncertain. Pakistan is ranked as the 5th worst country in the world when it comes to Christian persecution, according to Open Doors, USAID's World Watch List. And now to sports news. Premier League side Newcastle United have agreed on a deal to sign Lazio defender Jordan Lukaku on loan. According to Sky Sports, Lukaku will be the first signing of Newcastle manager Rafa Benitez in the January transfer window. The report claimed that Jordan Lukaku is set for medicals and will join the Magpies for the remainder of the season. Lukaku is the junior brother to Manchester United striker Romelu Lukaku. The left-back has played just 6 Serie A league matches for Lazio this season. So that's it on this edition of the News on the Hour. I want to thank you for watching. I am Zubechi Frank.